Hey guys, this is Delirious Vicious. I've recently been making a lot of content lately, but I've never made a build video, so that's something that I'm gonna work on today, and I'll be telling you what I run, what I've been running for the past patch and a half. So let's get started. So as you can see, I'm running 5-piece Veiled Inheritance, 5-piece Hulking Jogger, and 2-piece Bloodspawn. I have a triglyph on my chest, on my legs, and I also have one on my shoulders. So this allows me to kind of have a little bit extra magic, so I can purge, mostly for utility purposes. Also gives me a little bit of health as well, so it adds to my survivability. Um, with this build, it has a fair amount of resistances. I can actually hit hard cap with Bloodspawn procs. So as you can see, with my jewelry, I run all 3 weapon damage, as well as 2 protective and healthy. I'm running 2-handed sword front bar, sword and board back bar. On my 2-handed sword, I have a berserker glyph, so it rewards me for light attack and gives me a little bit extra weapon damage. On my back bar, I'm actually running a disease glyph on my sword, but I am going to be running double dot poisons, as you can see, as with the ones right here that I have selected. I place it on my sword and board bar like that. Whenever I reverb, I can light attack reverb, I can get the poisons off. So with that, I have some pretty decent stats here. I have 36k stamina here, with 20k health. Outside of Cyrodiil, in Cyrodiil it hits about 27k. I have 11k magicka, so it's not too bad. The one thing with it is that my stamina recovery is a little low for comfort for some players. So if you want to switch out a weapon damage glyph for a stamina recovery glyph or 2, that's on you. That's all preference. I just like running as much damage as I possibly can. I have some pretty solid damage, considering the build inheritance. The weapon damage proccing is kind of small, but it's still pretty damn solid, especially with that berserker glyph. So just with the buffs alone, I have about, on my sword and board, I have about 29k spell resistance, 32k with inside the actual rune focus. Outside of the rune focus, I have 29 and 26k spell resistance, 29k physical, and then as I said, I'm in the rune. I have 32k physical and 29k spell. On my 2-handed, I have 26k, 23k. So overall, it's not too bad. It's not too squishy, considering the fact that I am running 5 medium. For those of you who don't know already, I am running 5 medium. So as you can see, just from from doing my my standard rotation, I do hit 4,900 weapon damage. In Cyrodiil, thanks to continuous attack, it does go up quite a bit. It goes up a little bit more. I do hit over 5k easily. And then besides that, Veiled Inheritance does give me a pretty good uptime with the set, with weapon damage. I used to run Ravager, but the uptime wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, especially for open world situations. So I just went with Veiled Inheritance, plus the line of resistance. I personally think it's definitely worth the trade-off. So now we're gonna go cover my champion points for my character. I have one, I have maxed out on the steed, but we're gonna actually talk about the lady real quick here. So a lot of my damage mitigation comes from this part right here. I'm running 49 in Hardy. I'm running 49 in Elemental Defenders. I have 11% mitigation on both physical and magic-based damage. I have 28 in Thick Skin, so it's not as much as some builds, but I can easily purge dots, so I use that logic on my CP. So I could put, I put more points. I take some points away from that. I put in other places where I feel that, they'd be better. I'd be better off, hitting. Now with Bulwark, when I put points in, whenever I have a shield, so whenever I'm running sword and board, I get an extra little bit of resistance, and that definitely helps my survivability. But the big one here is actually Unchained. Now, with Unchained, when I break CC, my next stam ability costs 80%, so, you know, I can break CC and drop a Vigor. But now we're moving on to the Steed. I have 120 in there as well. The big reason why is I have 51 in resistant, so I get a lot of crit resistance built in. 32 in Ironclad. You know, I can resist quite a bit of burst. I know some people are gonna, you know, make fun of me for running points into medium armor resistances, but you know, that definitely, you know, contributes to my survivability. So I just think it's very useful. And another big reason why I run a 120 in Steed is for that reinforced. Whenever I hold block, it gives me a bit of a damage shield. You know, it's really good. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's definitely useful. Especially if you run Undo for Sigil Order. That's like that shield will stack with the Sigil Order shield. I also have 23 points in quick recovery, so it's almost like a minor vitality built in. So now we'll move on to my my stam CP here. So a lot of my focus on my stam version of CP is sustain, as well as reducing the cost of bashing and sprinting, pretty much stuff that I would need for open world. So I have 37 points in Warlord. It makes CC breaking a lot cheaper for me. I also have points in bashing focus. It makes bashing a lot cheaper, you know, whenever I'm bash weaving. If I do decide to run something like Heroic Slash, and even then, you know, just bashing to my reverb, it definitely helps with sustaining. I have 44 points in Sprinter, so it makes sprinting even cheaper for me. That plus I'm running medium armor. It definitely, you know, I can definitely sprint for quite a while. Especially, this is very useful, especially for situations where I'm fighting outnumbered. Now, another awesome thing about having 120 in tower is Warm Out, which is good for both PvE and PvP. You know, when you're running around doing stuff, or if you're PvPing and you're going from one place to another, especially when you're in the back, you know, in your enemy faction's back lines. Makes sprinting outside of combat free. So there's that. Now, under the lever, I have 120 in there as well. I have 64 points in Mooncav, gives me 13% extra stam recovery, and I have 56 points in Tenacity. I used to run 75, but the returns I get from it aren't worth it, and I'd rather just get the 13% instead of the extra 1%. I can put more points in Tenacity. Makes the resources I get from heavy attacking a lot cheaper. Plus, I also get Wind Running. You know, I get the little crafting passives, but the big one is Wind Running. So what's really awesome about Wind Running is it actually increases your movement speed by a small amount. It's by 2%, but while you're sprinting, your magic and health recovery is increased by 10%. So, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that little extra bit definitely helps. Not just that, whenever I synergize an ability, I do get a little bit of ultimate. So it goes hand in hand with the Undaunted, where I get resources from synergies. I also get ulti, so it definitely makes it worth my while synergizing. Plus, I do synergize quite a bit, mostly because I do lead groups, and my damage is pretty good. So I try to get stuff like Charged Lightning from Atro or Gravity Crush. So I do have 23 points in Tumbling. I normally have more points into this, but seeing as it's a sword and board build, I'm going to be focusing more on, you know, blocking, bashing, and stuff, so I put points into that instead. Now we're going to cover the Magicka side of my CP point, my champion points. I only have 19 points in the Apprentice. I used to have 43, and it really gave me some good Vigor tool tips, but I feel as if I'm at a point where I don't need to put a lot of points into that, and I could just put more points into my damage. So that's what I'm doing here. I only have 19, so it's like a little bit, but it's still, you know, it's still better than nothing. I do have 44 points into Master at Arms, so it makes the initial damage from Dawnbreaker increase. It makes it, you know, makes it increase. Plus my Burning Light receives a bonus from that. So does my Reverb and all my sword and board abilities. Anything that's immediate damage, I get a, you know, it's a substantial bonus to that thanks to Master at Arms. Plus from running 44 points into this, I do go all the way up to Riposte, and that extra damage that you get from Riposte can be pretty mean. I've killed people with just a Riposte when they're that low. Now we're moving on to the Ritual. So Ritual is very, very stacked here. I have 66 points in Thaumaturge, gives me a 22% increase to all my damage over time abilities, you know, but most particularly jabs and bleeds if I do run dual wield. I have 49 points in mighties and 11% increase all across the board on all my physical based damage. I have 51 points in precise strikes. I used to run 56, but that extra percent, it's not worth the extra 5 points you got to put into it. I can put it somewhere else. I also have 41 points here in piercing, so I get a little over 3k physical penetration. It's pretty much as if I'm running Spriggans. The big one here, though, big reason why I have over 120 points in here is Last Stand. Last Stand gives me my major heroism, so when I'm like really low, pretty much at execute range, it gives me major heroism, so I can drop. It makes me gain a lot of ultimate real quick. So if I need to get a Dawnbreaker in to take down as many people as I can with me as possible, or I can run my healing ulti or defensive ulti. It gives me that option to do that. Not just that, it gives me 9% extra physical crit, weapon crit, and then Exploiter is also, pretty goddamn useful. And that's pretty much how I have my CP. This is just what I recommend. This is what I run. You can run it however you like, but that's just pretty much how I have it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my skills here on my front bar. So I'm running two-hand. I am running Rally. I'm also running Biting Jabs. I'm running Executioner, Stampede, and Power Delight. Power Delight's where I have my flex spot, so I can add either Trap Beast or Repentance, or whatever else you feel you can put in there. Carve, it's whatever. But that's just pretty much how I do run my setup if I'm running Sword and Board back bar. It gives me a good amount of burst, gives me a good amount of utility, plus Power Light gives me ultimate and minor fracture on my target. So I do try to run Power Light. I used to not run it a lot, but I've been running it a lot recently, and I just fell in love with it all over again. My main ultimate is Dawnbreaker Smiting. Stamp Templars don't have a lot of variety in terms of ultimates, so I like to stick with the classics. And Dawnbreaker, you definitely can't go wrong with running Dawnbreaker. Now with that being said, I do run Sword and Board. At the moment, I am running Reverberating Bash as my CC. It's a really good CC, plus that major file is just really nice. I got Vigor on my back bar, mostly on Sword and Board, because I can block cast, let the Vigor do its work, and I can drop my block. I'm running, Restoring Focus, which gives me a little bit of stamp sustain, plus it makes me slightly a little bit tankier. I have Extended Ritual, of course, as my main, as my purge. What Templar wouldn't run Extended Ritual. I'm also running Shuffle. I've been seeing a lot of people run Forward Momentum nowadays, but I'm still sticking to Shuffle. You just definitely can't go wrong with that ability and a major evasion. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but I just deal with it. Some people just don't like running it, and that's fine. I personally do stick to Shuffle. So I am getting the passives from all the armor types. Grace, Evocation, and Spell Warding. Grace gives me snare reduction, snare effectiveness reduction. I get a little bit of spell resistance running it. Plus I get a little bit of extra magic recovery, so I'm able to get my purges off a bit quicker. It seems really insignificant, but I try to squeeze as much as I can on my stats. I am running 5 medium, so I get all the passives from here. But the most important one here is agility. That extra weapon damage, that 50% extra weapon damage is just really important. It makes my vigor stronger, so I heal better. My damage is a lot better. Plus I get cost reduction from stand-based abilities by running medium, and I also get a lot of crit. Heavy armor, I only get the first 3, of course. Resolve, Constitution, and Juggernaut. I get a little bit of physical and spell resistance there. I get a little bit of resources back when I take damage, of course. My health recovery goes up a little bit. And I also get a little bit of extra health. Being as I'm an Imperial, at 2%, you really get quite a bit back being an Imperial. Fighter's Guild, of course, you want to get Banish the Wicked, you want to get Slayer and Skill Tracker. Skill Tracker makes your Dawnbreakers hit on Undead and Werewolves a lot harder. Not just that, you get 3% extra weapon damage by having Dawnbreaker on your bar. And you get ultimate. You get a little bit of ultimate every time you kill an undead. And if it's an undead player, it stacks, with the assault, and we'll talk about that here in a second. I do have max Undaunted on this guy, and I am running 5-1-1, so 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light, and I do get quite a bit of resources back. I get 6% to be exact. You want to get continuous attack, especially for open world. That extra bit of recovery, that extra bit of weapon damage is just ridiculous. Reach as well. If you have any 28 meter abilities, it goes up to 42, I believe. Not just that, whenever you do kill a player from Frenzy, you get 20 ultimate, and if I said they're undead, you get 29 ultimate per kill if they're an undead player. Combat medic under support is just ridiculously insane. If you're by a keep, you get so much healing. It's just ridiculous. As I said, you can run Repentance instead of Power to Light. As I said, it's a flex slot. I am going to put points into Mending now that they did buff Extended Ritual. Extended Ritual does get based off of your max stats, so that's actually a really good change. So they're going in the right direction on Templars, in my opinion. And then also, of course, I'm an Imperial, so I get 2k extra health, stamina, and Red Diamond. Red Diamond did take a bit of a nerf, but that 3% that they applied under Ultimate, Magica, and stamina-based abilities, it's really good. It stacks with Restoring Spirit here. So overall, sustains a lot better for Templar this patch, especially if you're an Imperial and if you're running 5 medium. So right now I'm gonna do my thing again here with getting all my abilities up, mostly just for the purpose of showing the tooltips on my setup. So I do get 4700 tooltip on my biting jabs, and it goes up even more in Cyrodiil, of course, and I get 18k vigors, not even counting first aid. Oh, and of course it's also not counting continuous attack, so you can get some pretty good healing and some pretty good damage in the setup here. Overall, this is a pretty high damage build. Has good resistances. The sustain's not too bad. My resource pools are fairly decent and have a good amount of crit. This build in the right hands can do quite a lot. In PV, PvP, what have you. You want to run around solo, play casually. It's a pretty damn good build. If you have any questions or any suggestions, I'm always welcome to feedback. I'm always welcome to any kind of input. I'm always open to that. And with that being said, that's my build video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this helps you guys. Those of you who are pursuing on playing Stamp Templar, especially those of you who are playing Imperial Stamp Templar. A lot of people would like to play Orc. A lot of people like to play Red Guard. Now I don't see a lot of Imperials anymore. So this build comes to show that Imperial Templar is still pretty damn good. I will be making more videos in the future, and if you liked the content that I've been throwing out there recently, then and you haven't subscribed, go subscribe. It only takes a second. It helps my channel grow, and it keeps you updated on day-to-day things that I within my channel. And also, if I do put some morning videos, whether build videos or PvP videos, and in the near future I will be posting more funny, less serious, funnier content. I've been running with a couple friends of mine, as well as my guild recently, so I'm going to be using some of that for future content. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.